And welcome back to the channel where we talk about only good comics. I'm Brant, and this is Friday First. This is that series where we talk about those brand new number one issues, new character debuts, new story arcs, and the like. This is for books that are coming out just before Thanksgiving here in the US on November 27th, 2024, the last Wednesday of November. I apologize for my voice. I am sick. I'm pretty sure it's like this allergy thing that happens in this area in Texas, which is called cedar fever. It's where these juniper ash trees spread these spores all over the place, and it gets in the air, and I'm highly allergic to it. And it's been messing with me for, probably about 5-6 days at this point. I didn't even have a voice Tuesday night, so that on top of Mike's internet not working at all. We had to cancel Comic Book Weekly this week because I couldn't talk. My voice was breaking really bad, far worse than it is right now, which is still pretty bad. So I apologize for that. It'll probably get worse as I keep talking, but I'm going to try to make it through. So anyway, I think I read five of the issues from last week so far, the first. So I'll talk about those. And I've got one honorable mention, but a shorter list of books this week. And then, you know the format. If you're new to this channel, to the show, it's called Only Good Comics because I talk about comics that I think are good, that I like, or that could potentially be good. That's what this show is all about, to tell you about the new books coming out and tell you whether I think they have a potential to be good. I rate them possible, potential, promise, and positive. So that's my ranking. It's kind of a 4-star kind of thing. So and then I recap some of the books from the previous week, and then I'll also at the end talk briefly about a few other books that are not first that I am enjoying or that I'm looking forward to for the upcoming week. So let's get into all this before I lose my voice. All right, so the first recap book I'm going to talk about is Venom More. It's Jeff, issue 1. That's presumably a one-shot. It's during Venom More, kind of ties into Venom More. The other characters in the book, America Chavez, Kate Bishop, Gwenpool, etc., are fighting in the Venom More, but Jeff, he's too late because he can't pick out a costume to wear. He's in a mood, and so he gets left behind, and he encounters a symbiote. And, fun and hilarity ensues as they go to Coney Island, and he's eating up all the food. It's just a fun time. If you like Jeff, this is really fun. It's not one of the ones that has no dialogue. There's a lot of dialogue in this, actually. A lot of banter between those characters because they do meet up and team up later on. So it's just a fun time. Jeff is a cool character, and he fits right in with this group of characters. So it's fun to see them interact. And it was a nice little, like, if you're kind of weary of the heaviness of Venom More, this is a nice little palate cleanser that still keeps you in the event. Next one is You Never Heard of Me, issue 1 from Dark Horse. I think this is a 5-issue miniseries. And this one, last week I said that the cover art and the concept both caught me because I like these teen angst drama kind of stories. It's the kind of stuff I write. It's the kind of stuff I watch. That time period in your life where you're trying to figure things out. You think you know a lot, and you learn very quickly that you don't, and you're coming into your own, and all that kind of stuff is just a very interesting time period in everyone's life, for the good or the bad or indifferent. So I like stories that kind of focus on that. And so that appealed to me, and so I read it, and it was actually a really interesting first issue. So this kid's family, the main kid in the foreground on that cover, I can't remember his name, but his family is a long generation of seers. They basically have this ability to see both the best moment and worst moment in someone's life simply by touching them, and it passes down from generation to generation. And his dad's been preparing for it because the kid's grandma is not doing so well, and she's preparing to, for it to pass on and everything. And he's just like completely disinterested. He's smart, but he's bored in school and doesn't apply and all that kind of stuff. So he gets a lot of pressure at home. And then the dad is expecting the gift, and then things just don't go quite as planned. As you know, just from the description of the book and from the cover, obviously the kid gets it. So for some reason, it skips a generation. We don't know why yet, but the father doesn't know this yet. He thinks his family gift is gone, and he's devastated. And there's this whole thing, but really interesting story of this kid who's trying to find his place in the world and has this responsibility thrust upon him that he doesn't want at all, while dealing with family drama and trauma all mixed in. It made for a really interesting read for me. I like this issue quite a bit. Next up, we've got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Naruto, issue 1. This is from IDW, and this was the thumbnail for last week's show. It was like the crossover you never knew you wanted, that kind of thing. I've never watched Naruto. I don't know much about them. My brother did. So I know I've seen the characters. They always looked cool to me, but it's now that I've read them in a comic, you can see the parallels between their group and the Turtles, and how there's some similarities in personality types and that kind of thing, and dynamics, and numbers and all this stuff. So it kind of was interesting to see them clash. Now, obviously, this is a more modern take on the Turtles. They have a little bit different personalities. April's younger. She's still a reporter, but she's younger than we know her to be. She knows the Naruto crew somehow. That's not really explained. We're kind of thrust in the middle of the story a little bit, but it still was easy to follow. And the art was beautiful. So I thought it was a pretty solid start to this miniseries. I can't say it from a Naruto fan's perspective, but this was a very Naruto heavy issue. The Turtles were kind of the guest stars in a way. So we'll see if the future issues balance it, or if we get an issue of the Turtles taking the spotlight or not. I don't know, but they came in very hot and very aggressive, and it was just not the vibe I was used to from the Turtles. But I still enjoyed the issue, and I'm curious to see the cliffhanger that we left on, how these two forces are going to either come together or what's going to happen there, because it was a very interesting way to leave the issue off. Next up, we have Rocketfellers, The Rocketfellers, issue number 1. This is from Ghost Machine and Image Comics, written by Peter J. Tomasi, Francis Manapul on art. And this was one of the Ghost Machine books I was looking forward to, because it gives like this Fantastic Four vibe a little bit, but also you got the time travel aspect of it. So basically, this family is from I think it's the 25th century. So 400 years in the future, something that they've created has like these villains, I guess this evil corporation, whatever it is, in a stir. They're trying to get the technology, but they don't care about casualties in the process. So they just want the person that created this thing, and everybody else can die. We start off with tragedy right away. But ultimately, the family escapes to present day in the 21st century and kind of settles in and tries to assimilate into the present day culture and all this stuff. And one of the kids is like a little more, what's the word? Just he's a little unleashed a little bit. Doesn't want to kind of play it cool. He wants to go out there and show off a little bit and that kind of thing, and that gets them into trouble a little bit, and maybe puts them on radars that they don't need to be put on. So this was largely set up. We had the beginning in the future. We had the present kind of establishing where they are, who they are, kind of what they've decided their environment's going to be. We've seen that some of them are acclimating a little bit better than others. But they all think, well, most of them think it's a short stay, while the parents are pretty sure they're going to be there for the long haul. And then you're going to start to see fractures kind of build from there. So I thought it was a pretty decent start. I was looking for a little bit more, but I still enjoyed it quite a bit. They're just putting out really good books. with really strong character work, I think, and strong plots. Um, so it's interesting. You've got enough variance between the characters and their personality types and their abilities and skills and all this stuff that it's going to make it very interesting. Like Grandpa is more like a old. It's kind of funny because it's still the same dynamics even though it's 400 years in the future. Grandpa's like the old, uh, I don't know. He's tough as nails, and then his son is like trying to be responsible, even killed parent that's super smart, and then you got the kids. One's really precocious, the other one's studious, and all this kind of stuff. So it's a pretty good balance of dynamics here. And finally, for the recaps, we have the question all along the Watchtower issue number 1. This was a really interesting book that left me with a lot of questions. And so the interesting thing about this is the way this was set up. So basically, Renee Montoya had burnt some bridges in Gotham. She knew her time there was up. She gets this offer from Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman to come to the Watchtower because something is trying to hack in and weaponize it. And they're very scared because they can't figure it out. So she's basically come to be the sheriff on the Watchtower. So you get a little bit of Silo vibes in that, but you also start to notice a little bit of Watchmen-esque influences here. So ultimately, she even says the line, "Who watches the Watchtower?" And it's that straight from Who Watches the Watchmen, that kind of thing. She becomes the Rorschach, and it's she's wearing the trench coat, she's wearing the hat. It's very similar in vibes. And then her team that they've put together with her includes both Blue Beetles, Ted Cord and Jaime, but it gives you Night Owl vibes, right? So you start to see these parallels to the Watchmen, and it's like, oh, that's interesting. I mean, that's kind of cool. It's a little nod, whatever, using some of the original characters that were supposed to be part of that in that mix. That's pretty interesting. And then you get to the end of the issue, and you see a giant cat being let out of a cell by someone in purple boots. And I'm like, oh, okay, this was intentional. So I don't know where this is going. I don't know if it was misdirection. I don't know if what I just saw was what I just saw, but it was very interesting. And I know a lot of people have mixed feelings about meshing those two worlds together, but it's already done. It's already part of it. So why not enjoy it for what it is? That's kind of my take on it. So if that is where we're finally going back to that. It does lead to some very interesting possibilities, especially with the characters involved. And that's got me kind of excited about this. This was a sleeper book for me. It wasn't one that I was expecting to be just, blow my mind or anything like that. I thought, I'll try this one out. It's the question, it's sometimes, decent stories, but nothing that ever like blows me away. But I do like these characters, and it's taking place on Watchtower and all this stuff. So you're going to get all these other characters involved and yada yada. I thought it'd be a cool little mystery kind of thing, but to see a larger kind of plot developing and bigger, larger than life characters possibly being involved with this makes it much more interesting. It makes it a must read for me because it seems to have implications for the larger DC universe now. So don't sleep on the question, because it was a really, really interesting first issue. With that, let's get into talking about the books that are coming out next week. We're going to start with our one and only honorable mention here, which is Green Hornet Miss Fury from Dynamite Entertainment. If you are a Green Hornet fan, if you're a Miss Fury fan, you might want to check this out. This isn't really probably something that I'm going to pick up. I've tried different Green Hornet series from Dynamite, and nothing ever sticks for me personally. Nothing against anyone, but Alex Segura is writing this. I do like Alex's writing. Wrote a book that I read this week, actually. So it could be pretty solid. I'm just reading so many things that I don't want to jump into something that I'm not following on a regular basis at this point. I I don't know, with the character this established, I guess is what I'm trying to say, and one that I've tried over and over again. But yeah, this interesting concept behind this one. The team seems pretty solid behind it. So if you're a fan, definitely want to make you aware that this book is out there. All right, next up we have from Dark Horse, Welcome to the Maynard, issue number 1. This is interesting. The character in this book is the hotel. It's this fancy hotel, and in this hotel called the Maynard, everyone has some kind of magical or supernatural abilities, right? They're otherworldly, they're magicians, they're witches, etc. So we were following this character named Pep, or Philippa Dale, and she's the new bellhop for the Maynard, and she's also kind of become a would-be detective, and she's on the hunt for this thief, this magical thief who uh, is turns out to be part of a larger mystery afoot. So, sounded kind of fun, sound kind of interesting. The art is very cartoony. This is James Robinson writing this, so it could be interesting. I'm giving this one a possibly good. Not sure if I'm gonna try it out or not, but it is on my radar. So we'll see what happens. Next up is a book called Synap. I'm guessing is how you pronounce that. Issue number 1. This is from Mad Cave, who does a lot of cool and interesting books. This one takes place in the year 2030. There's a family-run private defense company, and I guess it's called Synap, and they are secretly putting together pieces of this giant robot. And they're psychically training these individuals who have some kind of gift to control this robot once it's put together at some point. But now that UFO sightings are starting to expand, and everybody's seeing like these apparently alien beings or whatever come around, it seems like they're going to have to fast track this robot and get it into action sooner than it was ready. So it sounds like there's going to be repercussions to that. This is written by Chris Moses with art by Andrea Gianni. Not familiar with either of those, but it sounded like an interesting concept. I'm giving this one a potentially good, just because of my experience with Mad Cave, and they put out some really solid stuff. So next up is kind of a cheat for this list. Uncanny X-Men number 6. It's kind of an in-between arcs story. I don't even know if it's 1 issue, 2 issue, whatever it is. Or if it ties into what's coming. So we just finished the Saragon thing. We know that the Grey Malkin Lane thing is coming up that crosses over with X-Men. But this is all about these new young mutants and how they are. I'll pull up the cover here real quick. How they are going to school, basically. Maybe not literally, but they're starting to be trained, and there's still that kind of prophecy that we've been dealing with since issue 1, where one of them could be this prophesied endling that is the last member of mutant kind. And also it seems like Jubilee is taking on a solo mission, which may tie into this Grey Malkin Lane thing. So this may be a filler story. It may be a story to focus on these 4 new kids that to kind of fill out their backgrounds a little bit more, learn more about them. I'm not sure. But for that reason, I just wanted to put it on this list. I'm giving this one a positively good just because I think Uncanny X-Men is the best X-Men book on the stands. I'm enjoying this book immensely. So that's why it gives it positively good for me. Next on the list, we have Green Arrow issue number 18. This one is on here because this is a brand new story arc, and it's a brand new creative team. Chris Condon and Montos are taking over. We saw a little clip of a story from last issue, not the annual, but the issue 17 that showed kind of where this story is heading. So we got a little taste of what their run is going to be like. But now we are officially starting off that run, part of DC All In, legacy number issue 351 for anybody keeping track. So a lot of milestones with this issue in terms of that. So Green Arrow is back to Star City, and he's back to kind of basics. Reminded me when I read the little snippet from issue 17 of the Arrow TV series, how it started off, how he was taking out CEOs and that kind of thing. It felt more like that, more in line with that. He's back to the corporate world, kind of taking care of things like that. This cold-blooded murder of a Star City businessman announces the arrival of a horrifying and mysterious serial killer, it says. So he's also dealing with the serial killer and dealing with hard truths from the city's past. And he's trying to stop this murderer before he murders again. So sounds like an really interesting start to the story for me. I'm giving this one a promisingly good, just based on what I've read before. And the vibe that I got from it, it seems like a story that I'm going to enjoy. Next up, we have Batman Santa Claus Silent Night Returns, issue 1. I'm excited for this. I don't know if you all remember, if you were around or not. Last year, mostly in shorts, I think, I covered the first Batman Santa Claus Silent Night miniseries. I think it was 4 issues, if I remember correctly, but it was such a surprising book for me. It was so much fun. I wasn't expecting anything out of it. I thought I would try the first issue and be like, okay, it's cute, whatever. But it turned out to be such a fun ride throughout the entire miniseries. I absolutely loved the experience. I was so stoked for it. And now we're getting a sequel to it. I can't be more excited about this book. Santa comes to the aid of the DCU heroes in a crossover event sequel. It says that we wished for, which is true. And it's extra good with a wintry mix of DC's wildest characters. So it could be interesting. I don't know what characters they're going to pull into it this time. Last time was the Bat Family. We see Zatanna here as well. So I'm looking for a fun ride. Jeff Parker's writing this with art by Lucas Kettner. So definitely on my pull list now. And I'm giving this one a promisingly good. Now we're getting to my top 3 picks. First up, Hornsby and Halo issue number 1. This is from Ghost Machine and Image Comics. Again, written by Peter J. Tomasi with art by Peter Snedberg. I'm probably mispronounced that. I apologize. But anyway, this one I've been looking forward to since the preview book that they showed. This and Rocketfellers and a couple other things. High Street was one of them. So I'm excited about this. This is going to be fun. It's good versus evil, and you basically have this angel kid and this devil kid. And it says, I'll just read a little bit of it. It says, keeping the cosmic peace isn't easy, but the opposing leaders of heaven and hell broker a deal that trades Zachary Halo, an angel child, to a demon family, and Rose Hornsby, a demon child, to an angel family, in hopes that this truce will halt the winds of war. It's nature versus nurture as the turbulence of adolescence comes crashing down on the 2 teenagers who have no idea who and what they truly are. So it's kind of a switch to birth kind of thing. And it just sounds like an interesting, fun time if you can put aside any, preconceptions of religious beliefs and that kind of thing. When I read stuff like this, I try to put all that stuff aside and just have fun with the story. And the little preview we got was a lot of fun. If you liked Batman and Robin, Super Sons, that kind of thing, there's a little bit of that vibe in there as well, obviously from the writer behind those. So it just seemed like a fun time. The art is really vibrant and pops off the page. So I'm really looking forward to this one. And I'm giving this one also a promisingly good. And I'm excited for this one. We'll see if it lives up to the hype. Next, we have the latest incarnation of West Coast Avengers from Jerry Duggan, and the art is by Danny Kim. And this is interesting because Ultron, who we have not seen in a very long time now, has returned. Now, Iron Man and War Machine, they've brought together this team. It includes Spider-Woman. Let's see, who else is it? I don't remember who else is in it. We got Firestar, Spider-Woman, Blue Bolt, and then, of course, Iron Man, War Machine, and the Ultron. So, they are... It says one that includes villains seeking a path to redemption. Their case study, Ultron, who against all odds seems to be walking the straight and narrow for now. So interesting there. Spider-Woman and Firestar obviously have their doubts. And, can you really forgive Ultron? Ultron's like the ultimate evil robot. He's the Terminator of the Marvel Universe, basically. It makes greater than that, just larger than that. Ultron is he's the Skynet. He's the whole Skynet, not just Terminator. It'll be interesting to see if they can trust him. And this sounds like a pretty fun team to put together. Spider-Woman's a fun time. I could see her clashing with Tony a lot. So it's going to be interesting dynamics for sure. So I'm here for it. I'm looking forward to it, and it's interesting to see Firestar now. She's left, her little stint with the X-Men, and now she's back on the Avengers and that kind of thing. So it'll be I'll be curious to see how they explain that, if they go into that, how she decided to join the Avengers again. So I'm looking forward to this one, and I'm giving it a promisingly good, of course. And lastly, we have Justice League Unlimited issue number 1. It is finally here. It's the thumbnail for this video. I'm excited about this. You have Mark Waid writing this and Dan Mora doing the art. It is the cartoon come to life in printed form in a comic book. We've got it all together. All these members of all these teams are staying on this Watchtower together, interacting with each other. There's this big power vacuum that has been unleashed through Darkseid's death. Some powers are wonky. Some people got their powers back wrong. Some people didn't even get them at all. Some people got other powers entirely. So there's a lot of craziness going on. And this is all about that. And I don't know how this is all going to work, if we're going to kind of cherry pick certain characters to do certain stories, go on certain missions, that kind of thing, like the cartoon would do. Or I assume there's that through line with the Darkseid plot and all this stuff going on as well. Then you've got the side stuff that's going on in other books, like the Question I mentioned earlier. So I'm sure that's going to play a part. It says Ray Palmer's Atom Project triggers a race between hero and villain to control the fate of metahuman abilities on planet Earth, which threatens to destroy everything the League has built. So that's part of it as well. Let's see. Yeah, it says Justice League are trying to encompass every hero championing the forces of good in the face of incredible evil, yada yada. So yeah, this is going to be fun. I'm looking forward to this. The art is going to be absolutely gorgeous. It seems like we're pulling a lot of threads already from the very beginning. So the challenge will be in balancing all of this. And I think that is Mark Waid and Dan Mora are the perfect team to do this. They've done this in multiple books with multiple characters. So it's going to be fun. I'm so looking forward to this book, and I'm going out on a limb just because of all these factors and saying this is a positively good for me. There's no way this book isn't going to be good. This is definitely going to be a top 5 book, and I cannot wait to read this, because this is like all of us watching Justice League and Justice League Unlimited are like, why can't they do this in the comics? Why can't we expand the Justice League? Why do we have to have just 7 members? Why can't we just do this? Make them basically like the Avengers and have all these reserve members and all this stuff. And they've finally done it in the comics, and I'm here for it. So positively good. All right. So before I lose my voice entirely, let me talk about these other books that I'm also anticipating that are not first issues. I won't spend a lot of time on the first 2. Feral number 8. You all know that I've been enjoying this horror story featuring a bunch of cats from the creators of Stray Dogs. Been phenomenal. And the cliffhanger we got last issue where Elsie is reunited with Lord. We'll see how that goes. Grommets issue number 6. Grommets is always a fun time. If you like 80s skate culture and you like, just over the top kind of stuff with kids and bullies and skating and injuries and all this stuff. It's a fun slice of life kind of book. And the way we left things off last issue, things are not going well for the kids, the main stars of this book. And I want to see how it plays out. Murder Kindgom issue 2. We're in this fairy tale land, this amusement park that everybody has to be in character, but now there's been a murder of someone that plays one of the main characters, and it's up to this girl who is about to quit, who's been thrust into this role now to solve this without talking, out of character. So it's a very interesting concept from Mad Cave. I really like the first issue, so we'll see where this one goes. Tin Can Society issue number 3, a murder mystery between 4 friends who were kind of outsiders, outcasts, that kind of formed this little friend group, grew up, kind of parted ways, but now they've come back together because one of them, who was a superhero, was murdered, and it could be one of them that has done it, and they're all kind of on the case and, suspicious of each other. So this has been a really fun series as well. Really, really intense and really good murder mystery. Superman number 20. We got a revelation last issue of who this the time trapper, that's what his name was, who the identity of this time trapper was, that it was some version of Doomsday underneath it. And it's like, what? So all the while there's an unstoppable Doomsday coming, and now they have to trust a Doomsday to kind of set everything right. So I don't know. Things don't seem like they could. It seems like things could get out of hand very fast with the story. So interesting direction to go with this. Excuse me. High Street number 2, first issue was pretty solid. We're going to learn more about the denizens of High Street throughout this issue. This is by Jeff Johnson, Ivan Reese. I don't know how to pronounce it, but we have Pranky, and we're going to find out where Pranky came from in this, and what's his favorite knot to tie. So we'll see how that all came about as well. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 4. We've seen Raph, Leo, and Mikey. Now we finally get to see Donnie and what Donnie's been up to, and how these 4 come together, and maybe why people are trying to hunt them down and take them out now after all this time. And Void Rivals number 14. Derek just got back to his planet. Now he's sent out and he's being shot at by another ship. So another fun story within the Energon universe, and I'm here for it. So I can feel my voice going. So I ran through those last few really quickly. I hope you liked this video and you managed to sit through my gravelly voice this time. I apologize once again. But if you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up and let me know if I steered you towards a book that maybe you weren't looking at. I'd love to hear that. I'd like to hear that in the comments from time to time. I see that, and I'm glad, and I hope it goes well for you and actually enjoy the recommendations. So let me know. Hit that subscribe and notification bell so you don't miss any of the other episodes. Hopefully next time I won't sound like this and you can enjoy it a little bit more. Of course, you can follow me across social media at OnlyGoodComics, or type in OnlyGoodComics.com to take you right back to this YouTube channel where we talk about only good comics. Until next time, thanks for watching and enduring me. Keep reading those comics, and I'll see you soon. Take care.